Okay, perfect. All right, it keeps on saying my connection is bad. So let me know if you guys could see me and it's working. Hey, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, gosh, it's bad, but to see, can y'all see me or can you guys see me? Is it good? Is the connection decent? Is the connection decent? Yes. Hey guys. Hey Natalie. Hello. I am super excited to do this because I probably only went live. It seems to be now. Okay, perfect. I probably went live only a couple of times because I just get in my head and I get like shy and stuff. Believe it or not, I'm actually kind of shy. Okay. But yeah, so I wanted to start incorporating more lives, and I know I post a lot on Instagram and recently started posting on TikTok. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna start doing lives, and I'm gonna start this week. So yeah, so I'm gonna wait for a couple more people to hop on, and then we'll get started. So with this live, I kind of wanted it to be kind of casual, kind of simple, more of a Q&A type of, situation. I get DMs and I get messages and comments. And so I wanted to kind of create a space for you guys to ask me any questions and to kind of talk a little bit about, my story and things like that. So I'm excited. Feel free to drop in the comments where you are joining from. Right now, I'm in Dallas. I live in Frisco. Let me see something real quick. Hold on 1 second. Hey, Amber. Hey, Tiffany. Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. Okay, let me get started. So, a little bit about me. Okay, so some of y'all have been following me for a while. Some of you may have just started following me. So, I'm Safina West. Okay, I am born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. I am a content creator, a Christian. Hi, beautiful. Recently became a realtor. And so I've been online and like content creating for a minute. So for those of you who've been following me for a while, I had a YouTube channel. I still have my YouTube channel, and I actually recently started uploading again. But my faith is very, very important to me. I got saved in early 2000s, or mid 2000s, through an abusive relationship. I wrote about it in my book. Through an abusive relationship that I was in for 4 years. And God really used that situation to bring me to this place of knowing and honoring God. So Amber, you said thinking about real estate. I would love to hear your perspective on it. Yes, absolutely. So here's my story about real estate. So my brother, I remember being younger, and I have an older brother who's about 10 years older than me. Thank you so much. Thank you. So I have an older brother, and I remember he had just got out of the Marines, and he got into real estate, and he did a flip in Houston. At the time, we were all living together in Brooklyn, New York. and he had did a flip in Houston, and there was a natural disaster. I forgot what the name of the hurricane was or what year it was, but long story short, that hurricane ended up pretty much destroying the project, and he ended up losing a lot of money, and it really affected him. So I think I've always had an interest in real estate, but I think when I saw that happen, I automatically associated real estate with loss and turmoil and just like something that you don't fool with. And so when I got my license, for me, it represented restoration and being willing to, just because something happened to somebody else doesn't mean it'll happen to you. And the thing about real estate is that it is, one, let's just be honest, like there's a lot of money in real estate, right? Like it's, I think the percentage, I think it's like 97% of, millionaires and billionaires, a lot of their portfolio and a lot of that money comes from the real estate that they own. But aside from that, to me, real estate is also spiritual. Like when you think about, rehab projects, right? What we do with houses where you'll get a property that is kind of torn down, that most people will look at and kind of dismiss as, oh, this is junk, it needs to be torn down, it's not livable. As an investor or as somebody with vision, you can come in and rehabilitate that house and make it something beautiful. And I think that's what God does with people. And so I think it's beautiful to be able to do that with homes. And so, I was super excited. And when I met my husband's a loan officer. Please save. I will. I will save it. My husband's a loan officer. So when we met in 2020. I didn't know like the ins and outs. I knew a little bit about it, but he's really the one that made it really simple, and kind of taught me how attainable it is. So he's a loan officer, so he does the money part. So we're like a husband and wife team. I'm the realtor, he's the loan officer. And people don't realize how important that is when it comes to loan officers, because you got to think about it. As your realtor, we gonna, look at houses and find the perfect house for you. But if the loan is not loaning, okay, if the loan officer is, not responsive, or you're not able to qualify for the loan, there's no house, no money, no house, right? So what he does is extremely important. And I'm not just saying that because that's my man. I'm not saying that because I love my husband. But I love working with him because he's so amazing. And I think the thing about us is like, we really, really care about the people that we work with. You know what I'm saying? Like, because at the end of the day, we're Christians first, we're believers first, and this is our occupation and this is what we do. But, it's souls and it's people on the other side of that transaction. And so we want the people that we work with to feel safe, to feel comfortable, to know that we're not just trying to, force you into a situation. Like, we really care about the people that we work with. So yeah, real estate is super, super dope. And I think I'm from New York. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. So home ownership, growing up, to me, home ownership was so unattainable. Like, because in New York, most people rent, unless you like live in Long Island, unless you live in New Jersey, or kind of like on the outskirts. Most of the people that I knew, that I was friends with growing up, like they rented apartments. And so and in New York, the prices for houses are insane. So to me, it was super unattainable. But when I moved towards the South, and then when I started to educate myself and I met my husband who really broke it down, I was so baffled by how simple it is. Credit, income, down payment, those are the three things. And so when I made that post yesterday, Hey Queen, inspired by your journey, I'm thinking about relocating and stuff. Oh, thank you. And girl, if you feel led to and you feel like God is leading you to the U.S., take that step. I talk about relocating. I relocated twice, not from another country into the U.S., but within the U.S. And just know that God will give you everything that you need in order to make that move if that's what He's calling you to. So, yeah, through education, realizing how simple it is. And so when I made that post yesterday, I made a post yesterday. If you didn't read it, go ahead and read it. And I talked about how with single women, how it's important to, amen, how it's important to not put your life on hold when it comes to certain goals that you may have, not just with home ownership or investing, but when it comes to travel or whatever it is that you want to do. I feel like sometimes, especially in the church, and that's going to be a different life for a different day, but we're just kind of taught to sit there and twiddle our thumbs while waiting on a husband. Or some women feel like, oh, well, they want to, experience certain things only within, only when they meet that person. But my thing is, you do not know when you're going to meet that person. You do not know when you're going to get married. And I'm not about to sit up here and try to make it seem like I have a crystal ball and say, oh, in 2024 or in 2 weeks, you're going to meet the one. I don't know that. And neither do you. So you need to live your life. And so if home ownership is one of the things that you desire to do, then do it. Educate yourself, whether you're ready now or whether you're going to be ready in 6 months and you just need to kind of come up with a game plan to maybe work on your credit, save some more money, get your, DTI low, whatever it is that you have to do. Go ahead and do it, because you have no idea, and it makes no sense to revolve your life around a relationship that you do not have yet. If I knew, and go back to that post and look at the comments from women who are like, I bought a house when I was 23 and I sold it when I was 31 and I made $200,000 profit. Okay, or people who, bought a house in COVID and within just a couple of years, they were able to make 6 figures just from buying a house. Like, that's insane. So if I knew what I knew now, if I knew then what I know now, it would have been a wrap. It would have been a wrap. But you can't go back in time. But this is why I'm so passionate about what I'm saying now. Where if you do have that opportunity, if some of y'all, let's just be honest, y'all got some good jobs, okay? I know tech, tech is in, tech is the popular thing. Tech pays very well. Some of y'all are in the medical field. Some of y'all are entrepreneurs. Like, y'all got it going on, okay? And you, without you realizing it, do have the ability to buy a house, but you just may be intimidated, or you have analysis paralysis where you're overthinking it. And of course, like I said, my husband's a loan officer, so one-stop shop, baby. One-stop shop. Let me read some of these comments. Yes, live your life. That was a good point. Good post. Thank you, Destiny. I'm from the Deep South, Beaumont, Texas, and my family are home and landowners. I don't live there anymore, but I have recently been meditating on getting into real estate. Yes, absolutely. Girl, I was just about to say, can you talk about Christian dating? I feel like I'm coming out of the phase of sitting back and hoping for my husband to fall out of the sky. Yes, I can touch on that a little bit. I went home, but I'm going to law school next year and don't know if I want to stay in Texas. That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, I think, like I was saying, you can, while you're kind of figuring out, what it is that you want to do, even if you decide that you don't want to ultimately stay in Texas, but it's like, oh, in the next 5 years, I want to leave Texas. 5 years is a long time for you to still be here. And in the meantime, think about how much the house can appreciate. So for example, if you say, okay, I want to leave and I'm going to go to law school here in Texas, and then 5 years from now, I want to leave. If you buy a house now, I guarantee more than likely by the time you're ready to leave Texas and you sell that house, especially coming out of law school, you have that big chunk of equity, then it's a win-win. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine the appreciation, and especially depending on the area that you live in, that appreciation is crazy, and you make money. I was in education. There is much money there, but it's so ghetto. The Lord finally delivered me from educational field. Oh my God. I don't know how y'all do it. I do not know how y'all do it. Like, some of the stuff that I be seeing within education and the work, I'm one of those. I believe that teachers and people who work in education need to be paid at least 6 figures. Like, the stuff that y'all go through, and I know a lot of it is not even just the kids, it's the parents, and child. Praise God for deliverance. That's a good point. I can do that. Thank you. Yes, definitely. And Alex, if you need a realtor, just feel free to hit me up. I would love to help you. So you can make 6 figures in education, but it ain't worth it. Yeah. And I think for me, I'm at a place where, it's not just about money. It's about the mental health and like what comes with it, right? So some people, have great paying jobs, but if you look at what they have to go through and you look at the mental toil, like, what good is it to have a good paying job and to make all of this money, but your mental health is in the trash can? And I feel like as life has gone on, for me, like, holistic peace is the most important. Like, success to me is my relationship with God comes first. My relationship with my husband comes second. I'm healthy. I'm happy. I feel joy. I feel peace. I have good people around me. Like, I want the full pie, okay? And it's not just about money, and yeah, it's just not. I actually have 2 friends who are moving to Dallas. They are not ready to buy a home yet, but are needing a good home for their family of 4. How can they connect to you? Yeah, so I have I'll actually just send you my business card and a link. So usually the way that I work is, if someone's interested in work, if you're interested in working with me, I book a Zoom call. Go ahead and book a Zoom call on Calendly. And that just gives me an opportunity to get to know you face to face, because I feel like face to face interaction, you get to feel, just what a person really wants. And I would just like to connect to people. So from there, we go ahead and come up with a plan, whether it's the person's ready to move now or they just need help with maybe getting a rental and then buying. So I'm going to go ahead and send you my business card. They can also email me at SafinaWest@fathomrealty.com. But yeah, send them my information and I would love to connect with them. So damn, what was I going to say? Okay. So the post that I made yesterday, this is why I'm so passionate about this. And it goes deep. So in 2021, I moved here, relocated to Texas, and it was hard. Okay. I would say like the first maybe 6 to 12 months really whooped my behind. And 3 months into me moving here, my father passed away. And then when I got back from burying my father, I got a phone call on 4th of July from one of my friends that our friend got hit by a drunk driver and died randomly. So since that situation happened, and not to say that I didn't think like this before, but I think it was even realer or more real since that happened, is life is so unpredictable and so short, right? So imagine the Bible says our days are numbered. Nobody knows what that number is, right? Nobody knows what that number is. So you don't know what day and what number you are. Say, for example, your number is, 10,500, and you're on your 10,499th day here on this earth, and you don't even know. It's like you are like, the time doesn't belong to us. And so that's why I'm so passionate about, of course, you want to honor God, you want to pray about all things, and you want to use wisdom, but you do not want to waste your time and waste your years just twiddling your thumbs because you just assume that you have all of this time left. And so it's like, no, have joy now, have peace now. You want to go travel and you want to go see the world and you want to experience certain things, do it. You want to buy a house, do it. You want to, I don't know, you decide at 40 you want to go back to school and become a doctor because that's always been a dream. Do it. Live your life. You know what I'm saying? Because when it's over, it's over. So that's why I'm so passionate about it. So when I talk about that, when I talk about single women living their life and single women, doing their thing, it's not like just this fake, women empowerment. Yeah, do this and do that. Like, I really, really mean it. And it comes from a really deep place because it's like so many women feel like, their life is over, or, they just feel like their life is over because they haven't gotten married yet, or it hasn't happened in the time frame. Now, I'm not saying that you should get rid of your desire. No, keep your desire. That's a godly, heavenly desire. God created marriage, but you don't want to let that desire destroy you. You know what I'm saying? And somebody asked a question earlier and asked me to talk a little bit about Christian dating. And hold on, I need some water. My mouth is dry. Ooh, child. And feel free to keep on putting comments and questions in the chat. But somebody asked me to touch a little bit about Christian dating and about like, getting out there and kind of coming out of that, I guess, that church doctrine of just sitting there and twiddling your thumbs. I feel like I could do a whole separate live on this, but my belief is that a lot of times the church does not equip single women when it comes to Christian dating. I feel like what's taught is to just go to as many Bible studies as you can, go to as many church services as you can, and one day this man is going, some random man is going to walk into church and find you, and you are going to skip off into the sunset and live happily ever after. And a lot of times it really does not. And a lot of times that's not how it works. And what happens is many Christian women become sheltered and don't know or overthink just basic interactions when it comes with the opposite sex. So everything is heightened. Everything is full of pressure. Everything is like, oh man, you can't, go to this place because it's demonic. And, you're just kind of taught to just be afraid of everything and just hope and pray and wait for somebody to come magically find you instead of just going about your life freely. I had made a post years ago, and was it years ago? Yeah, it was a couple years ago. I don't know, 2020 I can't believe 2020 was almost 4 years ago. That's crazy. But I had made a post about how Christian, a lot of times Christian women are sheltered and that there are men of God everywhere, right? Like, they have lives. So you go to the gym, they go to the gym, they go to the grocery store, they go out with their friends, they go out to dinner, they're living their lives. And you can live your life and don't be so closed-minded when it comes to the perfect love story of how you're supposed to meet and how you're supposed to find somebody. Like, oh, it has to happen this one way or else God is not in it. Or it has to be this like perfect church fairy tale. It's like, no, live your life. You know, there's nothing wrong with getting cute, putting on some makeup, taking yourself out to dinner. There's nothing wrong with going places, and there's nothing wrong with flirting. Like, there's nothing wrong with these things, but we're just taught to kind of just sit there and just like, okay, it's just gonna naturally happen. Like, it's totally okay to work on yourself spiritually, mentally, physically. You know, you don't have to overthink a date. No, of course, use wisdom with everything. I think that's self-explanatory. Like, yeah, if somebody's, you know, if you're talking to somebody on the phone and you can tell that there's no connection, then no, don't go on a date with them. That's it. But it doesn't have to be this whole dramatic, you know, it doesn't have to be this like whole dramatic situation. Like, you can just live your life and have fun. And because it's so much pressure, people could feel when there is premature pressure, because in the church you're taught like, well, you got to know from the jump whether or not this is your husband. So you're not even giving yourself the space to just genuinely, naturally get to know somebody and see, okay, whether you like them, they like you in the natural, because you're so up here that everything is like, oh my God, is this my husband? Is he the one? And it's like, it's only been 24 hours. Just talk. Just go on a date. Just have fun. And as time goes on, you know, see whether or not you guys are in alignment, and not just spiritually. Of course, there's the spiritual aspect. Of course, you want that person to be, that person to be yoked with you and have the same, you know, belief and all of that. But on a natural level, are you attracted to them? Are they attracted to you? Can you guys have a conversation about life in general? Is there just from a human to human standpoint? Because have you ever met somebody that y'all have the same faith? And this just applies to any relationship, whether it's romantic or whether it's platonic. Yeah, y'all are both Christians, but y'all have nothing in common. Like, it's awkward. Or you feel like you can't really connect with that person, or y'all don't really have banter, or y'all just have completely different personalities and can't relate to each other. That's important. I think that's important. Yes, we love the Lord. Yes, we praise God and we serve the same God, but can you connect with this person on a natural level? Because you're not going to just be talking about Jesus all day, every day. You're not going to just be reading the Bible all day, every day. You're going to be just hanging out with this person. So can you just hang out with this person and enjoy their presence? Are you sexually, like physically attracted to that person? Like, can you see yourself desiring that person sexually? Those are just basic things. And I feel like in the church, Christian women are just taught like, okay, he loves the Lord, so that must mean he's a viable option. Or she loves the Lord, that must mean that she's a viable option. Y'all should like each other. Aside from that, because when humans connect, you're not just connecting spiritually, you're connecting physically, mentally, emotionally, conversationally. Like, you're connecting on different levels. You need to be on Dear Future Wifey podcast, because this is a perspective that needs to be heard. And you know what's so crazy, Amber? I feel like I be wanting to say a lot of these things, but because, and maybe this is the enemy, I don't know. But because I feel like there's so many like podcasts, oh my God. There are so many podcasts. Everybody got a mic. Everybody got something to say about and I think sometimes I just be so over it just because of so much of what I see. But maybe that's not a good thing, because, you know, God uses people to be a light in a dark place. But sometimes I'm just like, I don't even want to talk about this, because, and then, you know, some people get in their feelings, and then some people want to debate and argue and you know, nitpick every little thing that you say and misinterpret and misinterpret what you're saying. And so sometimes I just be like, I don't want to deal with the headache. But y'all are right. You're right. But everybody ain't you. Aw, yeah, I mean, that's true. So maybe that's like my own little thing where I be getting in my head. But yeah, that's my perspective, is like, whew, live your life. Live your life, and you have to, and sometimes I feel like Christian women be losing the most. Like when you be hearing these crazy stories, a lot of times those stories be of like good Christian women. They met some drummer or somebody in the church, and that man gave them hell. Okay? They had a good position in it, and it looked good on Christian paper. It looked good on Christian paper, but it wasn't. And why? Because a lot of times we're taught as Christians to just look at the spiritual and the surface. Oh, they have this position in the church. And let me just say that title does not mean character. I don't care what position they hold. I don't care if they're a deacon. I don't care if they're a pastor. I don't care what position they hold. Right? So it's like, as Christian women, we get all excited, and it's like, oh my God, they're, a deacon, they're a pastor. Oh my God, he, goes to Bible study. All of these surface things that literally that does not mean anything when it comes to how that person is in a relationship and what their character is. Because you can meet a fantastic man of God at the gym. You can meet a fantastic man of God at the grocery store, at a restaurant. It don't have to happen in church, but you automatically assume, because it's church, oh, everybody is who they say they are, and everybody wants to, everybody's a good man, and you let your guard down because of that assumption. And so instead of going through the natural process of getting to know someone and seeing that connection, you automatically assume, oh, is this my husband? And now you praying about it and feel like, oh, this could be the one. I think this is the one. Oh Lord, I done got confirmation. I prayed and asked God, if this is my husband, for him to wear a blue shirt. He wore a blue shirt today, so I don't know, God. It sounds like it is. Like all of this craziness. All of this craziness. Jasmine, please save this live. I will save this live. What's your perspective on dating apps? I met my husband on Instagram. Now, Instagram is not a dating app per se, but I know plenty of people who dating apps have worked for them. With everything, like I said, use wisdom. Use wisdom. With everything, use wisdom. Like, talk to before you don't go on a dating app and meet somebody. Start talking to somebody and then meet them in a dark alley on a Friday night, talking about, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, use common sense. But I think, talk to someone on the phone, FaceTime. In this day and age, with as much technology as we have, there is no reason why anybody should be getting catfished in 2023. Like, in 2023, there is no reason why. So talk to the person, talk on the phone, FaceTime. All of those things, those are ways that you can feel someone's, like, okay, you can tell if they're genuine. You can tell, if you guys have a connection. And if you do, okay, go on a date, in the daytime or in a public, space and see what it's like. And that's also another thing. Is like, don't put so much pressure on it. Go on the date. If you like the person, great. If you don't like the person, okay, it's not the end of the world. And I think sometimes the weariness also comes from the extra pressure that we're taught, like, as Christian women, to put on from the very jump. But it's like, you know how crazy that is to assume that, like, everybody that you meet, every man that you meet is a potential husband? Like, no, they're not. That's not real. That is not real. And you will drive yourself crazy thinking every person you go on a date with, you're going to have this connection and this could be your husband. Like, you don't know. So just enjoy the ride. If you don't like them, you never have to talk to them again. And if they don't like you, it's not that serious. So it's just that lightheartedness that you have to have, because it only takes one real connection for it to work. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like because of all of this pressure that we have and that we're taught to have, it's premature pressure that adds to extra frustration. Oh my God, my eye is burning. What advice do you have for someone who doesn't feel worthy of true love? That's a good question. Why? I think I would ask, why? What is it about yourself that you feel like is not worth true love? I feel like sometimes we have these feelings and have these beliefs, but we don't investigate why. Like, where does that come from? And you would be surprised at what you discover when you ask yourself those hard questions. And so I would definitely recommend going on that journey of discovering that through prayer and through therapy. Maybe it comes from something that you experienced when you were younger, and that experience shaped a belief system that you have as an adult that now affects how you see love. Whether it came from, abuse, or whether it came from something that someone said, and at that moment, you adopted a belief and you just never let it go. You've never, you just adopted that belief, and now as an adult, it's affecting how you see love, and it affects how you interact with people, because those beliefs, and that's something that I've learned, those true beliefs, because it's so easy to kind of verbalize what sounds good, right? It sounds good to be like, oh, I trust God, or I believe that I'm worthy of love, because those are just nice things to say about yourself. But what we really believe on the surface is going to that's what's on autopilot. That's what we truly feel about ourselves. That's what we truly believe about love. And so I'm always an advocate for digging deep, because just looking in the mirror and just saying I love, who God created me to be, or I am worthy, and, saying these nice things, that's cool, but you have to dig deep and figure out where is that coming from. And once you find that, kind of replace that with the thoughts of God and what's true. So I would say go on that journey of prayer and therapy, and really see where that comes from. How did you know your husband was your husband? I don't know. That's such a tricky question, because I don't know if there was one specific thing that was oh, this is my husband. I think it was a series of things. And I know when we first met, I was just I didn't have the energy to give my heart to something that was not ultimately God, and that wasn't going to work. So I remember praying, and I think this is how I knew that I guess that I was in a healthy space, or a healthier space, because I was not attached to the outcome, right? So it wasn't I was praying to God, God, please let this be the one. It was just hey, God, I like this guy. I like him. I felt like he was genuine. That was one of the things that really I loved about my husband, is that I did not feel like he was trying to be something that he wasn't. I didn't feel like he was trying to be the Christian, suave, perfect guy who kind of used their Christianity to thirst trap. You know what I'm saying? And that was something that I was used to seeing, and I just thought it was so corny and disingenuous. And I felt like when me and my husband met, he was very transparent. Some will say maybe too transparent. He was very transparent about like himself, what he struggled with, him being in therapy. Like, he was not trying to paint this perfect picture because he thought that that is what I would want in order to be interested. And I love that, because to me that's more real. And I think that's a lot of times what women fall for. They fall for the picture. They fall for the like image of a man instead of who a man really is. So I'm like, well, I would rather be with somebody who acknowledges, you know, where they are, who acknowledges their flaws and who's working on them and who's transparent about it, than a man who acts like he has none. And then later on finding out a whole bunch of craziness. You know what I'm saying? And so I really admired my husband's like transparency, and how like passionate he was. He was passionate about God. He was passionate about working on himself. To be honest with you, my husband, like, he had a therapist before I did. Like, he had a therapist first. He's very self-motivated and very like, with or without me, he is going to pursue healing. He is going to pursue restoration and you know, God, and he's always, you know, looking to be better in every sense of the word. So I think it was that paired with, you know, I felt like we had a spiritual connection. And I felt like there were a couple times where we broke up because of like immaturity and not knowing how to communicate. And I think for me, I always felt like in the past, I felt like it would always be God steering me away from someone. And in this relationship, I felt like it was the first time God was pushing me towards somebody. In the past, it was always God like telling me to avoid someone, or like showing me signs or giving me dreams or things that's like, okay, this is not it. But I feel like with him, it was the complete opposite. And so with those things, I just was like, okay, God, well, I feel like this is it. He felt the same way, and we made it happen. You know, and that's the thing with relationships and marriage, is like, it's also, everything is a risk. There is no guarantee, right? Because you have some people that may have that same story and feel like, oh, God told me that this was my husband, blah, blah, blah. You look up 5 years later, they got a divorce. You know what I'm saying? So it really is, everything is ultimately a risk. There are no guarantees in life other than death and taxes. But I think there are things that, there's discernment, there's prayer, and then there's also a practical decision that you and that person are making together to walk this journey together. And it's not perfect and it's not going to be easy, but there's that commitment to walk in covenant with one another. So I hope that answered that question. That was kind of long-winded. Hi, beautiful. Hi, Sabrina. Hey, boo. Hello. Love that. I love that you share the imperfections. Yeah. You know, because I think that's important. Like, just being honest. You know, I didn't want somebody that was going to like put on a show, you know, or, you know, they know that Christian women love certain things, so they like, oh, let me talk about God with my shirt off. And so Christian women could be like, oh my God, I wish I could find a man like you. Oh my God. So corny. Another question is the timing of getting married. What are your views on that? What do you mean by the timing of getting married? Do you mean like when two people are in a relationship and like deciding when to get married? Like, what exactly do you mean by the timing? If you could clarify that. This was fun. I probably am gonna get off in about a few minutes, so feel free to put your comments your questions in the comments. yes, when they are in a relationship and deciding when. I think it's between the two people, and it's between the two people and God, to be honest with you. I think you do want to give yourself time. You do want to go with, like, you know, your conviction. If you're not comfortable getting married, you know, under a year to somebody that you've been dating, then don't. You know, I think sometimes we look for like hard and fast rules when it comes to this, but there really isn't. You have people that got married within 6 months and they've been together for 30 years, and then you have people who waited for 5 years, got married, and divorced a year later. You know what I mean? So there's no hard and fast rule. I think it's really between the two, like the three of y'all. It's between the three of y'all. It's you, God, and the person that you're dating. Hi, hello from the Bahamas. Hello. Elegant, do you have products for us to purchase from you? So I do have a book. I don't know if you've read it yet, but it's called Church Girl Culture versus Christ. A raw conversation on faith, purity, culture, and cosmetic Christianity. And that is on Amazon. That you can purchase. So yeah, it's you can click the link in my bio, and then I also have a link for the Calendly. Somebody was asking me earlier how to get in contact with me. You can click the link in my Calendly. You can email me. I'll post all of that in the caption too when I save this live and I upload it. But you can you know, reach me there. But that is the product that I have. I'm thinking about, so last year I had a course. I did a live course for 8, 12, was it 8 weeks? I think it was 8 weeks, and it was so much fun. I'm thinking about whether I should do that again, or maybe turn it into like a course that people could buy year round. And it was basically, I took my girls through a curriculum over the course of 8 weeks. And so every week we went through a different topic. So we talked about confidence. It was like I created a whole framework. So we talked about confidence, dating with discernment, sexual healing, a whole bunch of stuff. It was so cool. We had like a group chat. So I'm thinking about whether or not I should do that again, or if I should create it to be like a course that is self-paced, that you could do on your own. So if y'all would want me to create it into that course that y'all can purchase, let me know and I will do that. But yeah, I had a cohort. I had 2 cohorts, and it was just fantastic. And even when I'm on Instagram and I see, you know, my students like living it up, going to Dubai, buying houses, doing everything that we talked about in the course, like actually doing, because one thing about me is like I am going to push you to actually do and execute what it is that you're praying and asking God about. Okay, there's only so much talking we're gonna do before I'm like, okay, it's time to take some practical steps for you to, you know, step out and do your thing. So yeah, that was really cool. But yeah, I think life is too short, and I just love seeing, you know, women get after it and have peace and have joy. And I love seeing women who love God and who are making a difference in whatever field that they're in. I am a firm believer that like we're called to go out into the world and be a light. Right? So everybody is not, I know for me, I don't feel like I'm called to just like I don't feel like I'm called to like a church position. I feel like I'm for the everyday woman, you know, who is just navigating their faith, there's navigating, you know, the good, bad, and the ugly, that, you know, it's just the everyday. I'm not for the super churchy cookie cutter you know, person. And I believe that it's important to use the influence that God gives you. So some of y'all love, you know, you have amazing careers, you're nurses, you're doctors, you're therapists. It's like, let your light shine before men. And you can't do that by hiding underneath the table. You can't do that by, thinking that the four walls of a church is the end all be all, because it's not. It ain't. So let me know if anybody has any other questions. Speak now, forever hold your peace, because I'm about to hop off. I think I'm going to do, the next time we do a live, or the time after that, me and my husband are going to do it together. And y'all can ask us whatever y'all want to ask. Hi, y'all. Hello. Okay, so let me see. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Do you have a book for us to purchase? When did you... When did you say I love you? Oh, that's a sweet question. It was probably a year into us dating. I wasn't going to say it first. But it was probably like a year into us dating. And I remember my husband saying, like, what took him so long to say it was because he said that he wanted to show me in action his love before he verbalized that. That's another reason why I married him. I was like, okay, I like that. So yeah, it was about a year into it. And yeah, my husband's about that action. He does not play, and I love him for it. That's why he's my man. Okay, well, if y'all don't have any other questions, I'm about to hop off. I'm probably gonna head to the gym in a little bit and help my husband film some content for his YouTube and stuff like that. But yeah, so make sure you follow me, follow Greg as well. My door is always open. My Instagram door is always open. So send me a message if you are in Dallas and you are looking to buy a house. Y'all, so the other day, we went on a tour for this cute house, and it was $275, which is great. And it's in South Dallas. I'm going to post a home tour of it, and I think it's such a great starter home. Now, when people hear the word starter home, they think like, oh, it's going to be some like rinky-dink type of situation. But I think the builder did a really, really good job of making this starter home beautiful, like gold finishes, accent walls in the primary and in the living room. It would be great for like a single mom with small kids, or even like a small family. Great backyard space that you could do a whole bunch with. So I also want to encourage, like, don't feel like your first house has to be like a $600,000, 5,000 square feet house. Like, you can start off with something that is doable. My husband will calculate the payments so you can get an idea of how much it'll cost every month. But get a smaller house that you can make your home. And the most important thing, or one of the most important things, is the appreciation, right? So if you see that there's development going on, so for example, if you're driving around, right, and you see that they're working on the highways, they're building the highways, they're starting to clean up the area that was like once the hood or whatever, that is a telltale sign that let's just be honest, the city is not doing that for no reason, okay? The city is not doing that out of the kindness of their heart. They're preparing for more development. More development means more people. More people and more development means the property values are going to go up. So even if you want to get in when it's still early, not when 5 years down the line you driving around and the houses are now, that same house is going for $300-400, and you're like, damn, I remember when this area used to look like this, or I remember when you could get this house for $250. Like, you don't want to wait until after when the property value is already gone up. So even if your starter house is a cute 1,300 square feet house for $275, make that house a home, be faithful with it, enjoy it, love it, and either 4 or 5 years from down the line, if you want to move, maybe convert it into a rental property, or sell it and make a lump sum of money, or take the equity and buy another property. but it's so cute. It's such a cute house. I'm probably gonna put a video together and post it on my Instagram. But yeah, if you are in Dallas and you are interested in purchasing, I would love to be your realtor. I got you. Go ahead and book a call with me. We'll talk face to face. Even if you're not ready to go now, but you're like, girl, I gotta give me 6 months, give me 12 months, that's fine. Still book a call. We can come up with a game plan so that we could, you know, revisit when the time is right. And when the time is right, you know, we'll take you through the pre-approval process first before looking at houses, because it's important to have that pre-approval, because you'll know, okay, what your budget really is, what, you know, what the number is, so that we can look at houses within that budget and then pick a house and go from there. So yeah, I would love to work with you. Click the link in my bio to book a call. But if y'all don't have any other questions, I will see you guys later, and love you guys. Bye. Bye, y'all. And